Hello all, welcome back to Pittman's Pit. I'm your host Jonathan, and I'm here to give you my predictions for Night 1 and Night 2 of Wrestlemania 39. This year's show is coming from the bright lights of Hollywood, Los Angeles, California. And it's going to be a 2-night extravaganza starting tomorrow night and on Sunday night. Overall, I gotta say, WrestleMania for me is a special night. Every single year, no matter what the build was like before it, I always have this giddy excitement that takes me back to my childhood. It's like wrestling has always been this special thing for me. So no matter how much the build has lacklustered or suffered, I always find myself, as soon as I get to that day before or the week of WrestleMania, I'm amped no matter what it was like before that. And I'm honestly that way again this year. I'll admit a lot of the matches had some pretty poor build. There was some lackluster build up in order to get to these moments, but I just know a lot of these matches, even if the build form wasn't that great, the matches themselves are going to be freaking amazing. So I'm just giddy and have goosebumps and this jittery, anxious, freaking amped feeling that it's just going to be an awesome event for both nights. So sit back, relax, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. What are your thoughts heading into WrestleMania? What's your favorite WrestleMania moment? I'd look forward to reading some of your thoughts down below, and hope that some of you will consider subscribing for more videos in the future. With that, let's get into this prediction video. Night 1, we already know what the very first match of WrestleMania weekend is going to be. It's going to be Austin Theory defending the United States Championship against John Cena. Honestly, we've known about this match for a while, but it only got confirmed recently in the last couple of weeks, like the last month or so. But we've known, it's been speculated for months now that this was going to be a WrestleMania match. Honestly, the build has been, except for one promo, it's been kinda iffy. I do like that Theory's been using a lot of Cena's moves when Cena isn't there. But the fact that Cena isn't there because he's off probably filming a Hollywood movie or something like that. I don't know what he's doing, but he's very busy outside of his wrestling career. So he hasn't been on the shows except once. That's kind of made this match suffer, in my opinion. It's all basically about one promo that they did together throughout the entire build. And that one promo leads to my prediction, because it was when John Cena basically verbally annihilated Austin Theory. He told him to his face, like, that nobody cared about him. He basically told him, hey, I may be old, I may be balding, all this stuff you're saying, past my prime, whatever, but at least I don't have people pumping in crowd noise in my matches and segments because nobody gives a damn. Once you have somebody say that, that solidifies to me that Austin Theory has to retain. Because if you have Cena win, and you pretty much bury Austin Theory, it's like Cena said himself in that promo. You lose this match, you're done. They're gonna have to repackage him entirely if Theory loses this. And I don't know if Theory can come back from it if he loses. He might have to go all the way back to NXT and revamp himself entirely. So for that reason, I think Cena has to lose. I think Theory has to win this match. I don't know what they do with it after the fact, because having him beat a 16-time world champion like John Cena, like, that's a heavy pedestal. I don't know where they'd go after that, but it's confirmed to me that Cena has to put Theory over at this point. Otherwise, he's basically just destroyed his entire career. The next match we're going to talk about is a tag team showcase fatal 4-way match. Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus Street Profits versus the Alpha Academy versus the Viking Raiders. This match kind of confuses me because it was just kind of thrown together. There wasn't really any build except a couple of matches that, they did like 6-man tag matches and 8-man tag matches where they put some of the participants together. But they didn't actually build or give like a reason. Why are we having this match? There's been no announcement of a tag team title shot being on the line. If that was the case, then sure, that gives your next contenders for who's going to be the next to face the tag team champions. But other than that, there isn't really a reason for this match. And that's kind of discouraging for me because there's a lot of good teams in this match. Alpha Academy is doing some of their best work this year. Chad Gable's whole, "oh thank you," and "whew," that gimmick that he's done, he's becoming like a new Kurt Angle to me, which is like the highest praise that I can give anybody because Kurt Angle was the guy that made me a wrestling fan. He's becoming like that guy. The guy that he can go in the ring, he can absolutely kick ass. But he's also not afraid to make an ass of himself in comedy segments. So, because of that, even though I know they're doing that whole thing with Otis and the modeling gimmick and all that stuff, it's fine, it's kind of funny. But for that reason of they're just my favorite team in the match, I want Alpha Academy to win. And I'm going to predict them to win. But the problem is, I just wish there was more stakes. I wish that there was a reason for this match to happen, other than just it being a showcase match to put more teams on WrestleMania. The next match is going to be a little tough for me to talk about. Seth freaking Rollins versus Logan Paul. This match creates a bit of a conundrum for me. Because I've had wrestlers that I wasn't a big fan of before. When Cena was on his highest point in his career, where he was constantly in the main event picture, constantly, always winning championship after championship after championship, wasn't a big fan of that. I didn't like that it always came back to Cena wins the Hall. But I never had any personal problem with John Cena. He does a lot of great charity work. He's, by accounts, a good guy. So, it's hard for me to talk about this and be impartial, because when it comes to Logan Paul, I'll keep it short that I just flat out don't like the dude. Can't stand him. As a person, he comes off as smarmy, arrogant, and just annoying. And just rubs me the wrong way in a lot of different ways. So, it's hard for me to be impartial. But I'm going to try my best. Because, impartially, he's a good wrestler. Oh, God, I hate saying that. But he is. He's a good wrestler. He's very athletic. He knows how to make the fans boo and how to capitalize off the fact that a lot of people don't like him. He knows how to make the best of what his persona is in the public eye. And Seth Rollins is honestly one of the best in this generation. He is athletic, he is charismatic. No matter what character he's been given, he knows how to make the best of it. So I know objectively this match is going to be phenomenal. And I know it's probably going to be a longer one. That said, I just want to see Logan Paul get squashed. I want to see him get curb stomped into the mat. 1, 2, 3. Seth Rollins wins. I'd rather that happen in like 30 seconds, but it's probably going to be more of a standard 15-20 minute match. Still, I gotta give it props to Seth Rollins for carrying this feud and for keeping people invested. Because he's honestly on probably one of the best tears of his life right now. Like, no hyperbole, he's probably more popular than he's ever been in his entire career. Like, he was popular in The Shield. He was popular when he first went solo. He was popular when he turned face until the Fiend thing happened. But overall, I don't think he's really ever been as popular as he's been. The way that the fans are singing his theme song, and they just keep it going for minutes on end after it stopped playing, and just keep chanting for him. I don't think he's ever been as high up on the card as far as popularity and fan investment as he is right now. So for that reason, more so than the personal dislike of Logan Paul, that's why I think Seth Rollins should win this match. Because they need to capitalize off this. They need to capitalize off the fact that Seth is the most popular he's ever been in his career. They need to put him back in the world title picture. And we'll get back to that a little bit later. The next match is going to be the SmackDown Women's Championship. Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. I haven't really liked the build of this match because they're basically kind of just having Rhea be kind of this sidekick to Dominic in his feud that we're going to talk about later, while also trying to juggle that with Rhea's own feud with Charlotte off of what happened a couple of years ago at WrestleMania when Charlotte took the NXT Championship off Rhea. I do like that they're making that callback, but I just feel like juggling those two feuds has kind of weakened both of them, in my opinion. But overall, I think this match is still going to be phenomenal. You have Charlotte, one of the best, whether we like her or not, women in the business. We have such an athletic, promo-driven, and just overall one of the best in the business in Charlotte, going against one of the highest rising stars in the Destroyer, Rhea Ripley. Honestly, I think that this is going to be a phenomenal match. It's going to be hard hitting, it's going to be athletic, and ultimately it's going to create a new star because Rhea Ripley is going to hit that riptide. She's going to pin Charlotte Flair, and this is the match where I think it actually will be a squash. I don't predict this match lasting very long. I know a lot of fans are like, well, Charlotte would never let herself get squashed. She would never let herself be booked in a way that she would just lose in seconds. That would never happen. Don't count your chickens. This is going to be one of the shocker moments of WrestleMania. Rhea Ripley is going to finish off Charlotte in... If this match lasts 30 seconds, it's going to be too long. And we're going to see a new SmackDown Women's Champion. And then Rhea Ripley is going to run a tear and give a boost that SmackDown Women's locker room desperately needs right now. So, overall, I'm looking forward to seeing that. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Rhea Ripley is gonna do from now, after that. Moving on, we're gonna talk about a 6-woman tag match. Damage Control. It's gonna be Bayley, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai taking on two Hall of Famers and one of the most popular women of our generation, Becky Lynch, Trish Stratus, and Lita. Now, I'll admit, I haven't really had a whole lot of investment in Damage Control since SummerSlam. It's like they brought these girls in, and then it's like they brought these girls in, and then they just did not do a whole lot with them. Every big match Damage Control is in, they lose. They brought back Bayley. They brought back Io Sky. They brought back Dakota Kai. They put them in a faction, and they had them lose every big match they've been in. That needs to change. But then you give Becky Lynch this rivalry that's been going on with Bayley, harkening back to their NXT days when they were in developmental together. And you mention a lot of the history behind them and use that to fuel this rivalry, but along the way you haven't made Damage Control much of a threat. Like, if you had given them more major wins, this would be one of the most anticipated matches of the night. Maybe of the whole weekend. But the problem is you've had it so one-sided that Becky's side pretty much always wins. So, I think that the way to correct this is you have to have Damage Control win. And it's gonna be so funny to me because, well, funny in a kind of coincidental and beautiful irony kind of way, that when Becky and Bayley were coming up, Bayley once talked about that she wrote a letter to herself, and she talked about, she's always talked about how Lita was one of her major inspirations, and how she always wanted to be just like Lita. I think it'd be so awesome. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I think it'd be amazing if we see they're all in the ring, and Io and Dakota take out Trish and Becky, and Lita gets Bayley down. She goes to the top rope for the moonsault, and Bayley gets her knees up or moves out of the way, avoids the moonsault one way or another, and hits the Rose Plant. 1, 2, 3, pins Lita clean. How awesome for fans that have known Bayley for so long would that be, that you get to see this awesome superstar win at WrestleMania by pinning her childhood idol. That's a moment that you can't pass up, in my opinion, especially when Damage Control needs something to solidify them as an actual force. They need something to right the ship. So that's what I'm predicting, that Damage Control wins the match by Bayley pinning Lita. Next up, we have the first ever father versus son WrestleMania match in history. Rey Mysterio, who tonight will be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, faces his son Dominic in a match one-on-one for the first time they've ever fought. I love this. I absolutely loved the build for this. I do think having Rhea there as kind of like this enforcer while she's also, feuding with Charlotte has kind of like taken something off her feud and wasn't really necessary. And having her still be involved in like the Rey feud was a little bit unnecessary. But I do like what we've done with this, where Dominic has basically betrayed his father, called him a deadbeat, and spat in the face of the Rey Mysterio legacy, which is one of the most prolific wrestling families, one of the most renowned families in luchador history. Like, when you think of Mexican wrestling, it's the Mysterios and Guerreros. They're the two wrestling families that are the most respected. And Dominic has just spat in the face of all of that. Been an incredible, awesome villain. And just this Judas to freaking Rey Mysterio. He's interrupted family holidays, invaded Rey's house, beat him up in front of his family multiple times, and the whole time until last week, Rey won't hit him. He's like trying to be that good father, trying to talk it out with him. But Dom just ain't hearing it. So it created this moment of like where eventually Rey had to do it because Dominic got in his mom's face and told her to shut up, which, for the record, just a point, that's how you know the whole thing was scripted, because I guarantee you, at least if his is anything like, what, honestly, I don't think that if, he had actually said that, like, for shoot, I don't think he'd be here the next day. Like, just personally. So, that's how you know it was, pretend. Because if it really happened, Dom wouldn't still be walking. He wouldn't still be here. Because Rey would have really beat his ass. But he walks down that ramp, says, "You're not going to disrespect my wife. You don't talk to your mother that way." And just punches him right in the face, knocks him out. And then on Raw this past week, Dom starts basically whining that, his dad hit him. When he's been begging him for weeks to hit him. And then, of course, when you finally get what you wanted, now you're gonna whine and complain and moan. The thing is, I think that this match is gonna have an ending that a lot of people may expect or may not. But I think Dom's winning on this one. Because it just kind of makes sense to me. Rey's in the Hall of Fame now. He's probably not going to be wrestling very long. So, what better way to pass the torch than to put your own son over at Wrestlemania? On the biggest stage you can possibly give him. So, I think Dominic is going to win this match. And then Rey is probably going to announce his retirement later. If not now, then by SummerSlam he'll be retired. And all of that brings us to the main event of night 1. But we're only halfway through the video. This is the match everyone is looking for. If you're a wrestling fan, this is the storyline you've been paying attention to. The Usos, Jimmy and Jey Uso, versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for the Tag Team Championships. Everything about this storyline has been magic. Honestly, I don't think he could have possibly done anything to make it better than it actually was. Because you had Sami for months now. He was in the bloodline alongside the Usos. He was helping them. He went out of his way, took bullet after bullet after bullet for them. And then the one time Roman pushed him too much, he got fed up, he fought back, and the Usos immediately turned on him. So, I think that this honestly has been the best storyline of the whole year. And then, of course, from Kevin Owens' perspective, this is yet another awesome WrestleMania moment for him. He went from wrestling Stone Cold Steve Austin's return match last year to now tagging with Sami Zayn in the most talked about storyline of the entire wrestling year. It doesn't get better for KO. So, seeing them reunite after Kevin Owens was betrayed at War Games for the Bloodline. Sammy betrayed him for the Bloodline, and they still freaking betrayed him later. And because of that, at first, Kevin Owens was like, okay, I don't want nothing to do with you. Why would I tag with you? Look, I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear it. And then there was this one moment that absolutely, literally had tears in my eyes. When Kevin Owens was like, look, I get it. You're talking about working together. We don't have to be friends. But why would I tag with somebody that doesn't want to be my friend? That's what Kevin wanted. He wanted his brother back. He wanted the guy that he was on the independent scene wrestling with and considered family to him. He wanted that guy back. And Sammy the whole time was talking about, oh, we just need to work together to take down the Bloodline. Because he didn't think that Kevin Owens would want to be his friend, so he tried to go after the next best thing. Look, let's just work together. You don't have to like me. I know you said you're done with me, but, just try to work together for this. But that's not what Kevin wanted. He wanted his brother back. And that moment where Sammy, just as Kevin Owens is trying to leave, he's trying to get in his car, Sammy talks to him and says, look, we're not just friends, we're brothers. And if you never want to talk to me again, if you never want to see me again, I get it, I understand. Just know I love you. That moment choked me the hell up. Even talking about it now, it freaking gets me emotional. Because, damn, that was beautiful. And then you get Kevin Owens driving back to the arena when the Bloodline is beating him down. Beating Sami Zayn down. And Kevin Owens comes down, he makes the save. We get that big hug, that big embrace. And they finally reunite. And it's all gonna culminate in this tag team match where so much storyline is finally ending in this. And it's gonna be a beautiful moment. It's one of those things that even though it's very predictable what's gonna happen, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are gonna be the new tag champions. Even though it's predictable, this is a case of predictable still being good because it was well written. It's like in most movies, especially superhero movies. You know that, like, Spider-Man or Superman or what have you is probably gonna win in the end, some way, somehow. But you're along for the ride because it's well written. Same thing with this. It's well written, it's beautifully orchestrated and masterfully threaded together. So, ultimately, you don't mind the fact that, yeah, it's a predictable thing, because that moment, that payoff, that how we got here is so magical, it's worth just going along for the ride. And I can't wait tomorrow night, that closing moment of one more embrace. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, tagging in the ring, winning the championships, and having that final embrace in the ring, holding the gold in their hands. The confetti flying, fireworks going off, while Kevin and Sami raise the championships above their heads in the ring. That is what WrestleMania moments are made of. And that's, of all the shows, of all the things that are in both shows, 2 nights, that's what I'm most looking forward to. Not that there aren't things that I'm looking for in night 2, but this is what I'm most looking for. Sami Zayn and the Usos are gonna put on the WrestleMania moment of the weekend. And I'm just so amped to see it. But with that, let's get into night 2. Night 2, the first match I have here is the Women's Tag Showcase. We have Liv Morgan and Raquel Gonzalez versus Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler versus Natty Natalya and Shotzi Blackheart versus Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. This showcase match has a similar problem to the other one from night 1, except it has an added bonus. Not only is there no build, not only is there no real indication of what the purpose of this match is, of why are we having this match in the first place, even if it was for a tag team title shot, the tag team women's championships don't matter. They haven't been built up to matter at all. They're never on the show, they're never defended, so they're basically throwing these women in the ring just to say that they did it. And the women especially deserve better than that. The women's division has so many talented people. Liv Morgan did some of the best character work of her career this year, and this is the best you got for her? Ronda Rousey is one of the most mainstream superstars we've had in a generation, mostly because she started in UFC, and people know her from there, but still, she's a well-known, recognizable name. And this, again, is the best you've got. The women deserve better than the way they've been booked these days. It's like the main event scene in the women's division is all that's really been given any kind of build. And I really hope that that changes. Because there's so many talented women that aren't being given proper storylines, proper build. And it's something I want to see redeemed and remedied throughout, next year. It should be remedied immediately. The second the show ends, immediately start revamping the division. But ultimately, I think Ronda Rousey, just because she is that mainstream, if you look at her, she's a UFC champion. Her fights in UFC didn't last more than 10 seconds, 15 seconds usually. And she was, tapping people out immediately. So when you have somebody like that in the ring, how realistically is anybody else supposed to beat her? Especially when she's got Shayna Baszler, who also is a UFC former fighter. There's nobody that should realistically be able to beat them, so they should just run through everybody. But then again, after that, maybe you send them after the tag team champions. Maybe have them go after Lita and Becky. I honestly don't know. I don't know what you do after this, but I think it's pretty obvious that Ronda and Shayna, just because nobody else can realistically beat them, I think it's pretty obvious that they're winning. Next match is going to be a quick one to talk about. Brock Lesnar versus Omos. I like this, honestly, a little bit. I do wish that we had Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar, because until the Elimination Chamber, this seemed like what we were building up to. And then the whole situation with Bray Wyatt happened, and things just got wonky, but I really think that up until Elimination Chamber, we were supposed to be doing Brock versus Bobby Lashley. And I don't really understand why we're not doing that, but it's not really a big deal to me, because this match isn't going to be long. Brock's going to get in the ring, Omos is going to get in the ring, Brock's going to beat the hell out of Omos in about a minute, 2 minutes. I wouldn't say this match is going to last more than 5. And Brock's going to win. He's going to F5 Omos for that big spectacle of, Brock is hitting a big slam move, hitting a big F5 on a guy that's 7 foot, 400 and some pounds. They've only said that about Omos 5 billion times. So they're just having Brock beat Omos for that big spectacle moment. It's not really a big deal. I just kind of wish that we had something bigger, because it seemed like we were building something bigger. But ultimately, the match is going to be fine. It's not going to hurt WrestleMania, I don't think. So, if Brock wins, that'll be that. Next match is one I'm really excited about. Finn Balor versus Edge in a Hell in a Cell match. This is one of the best matches that was built, because we've seen Edge built the Judgment Day, the faction that Finn Balor is leading, with Rhea Ripley, Dominic Mysterio, and Damian Priest. We've seen that Edge was the one that built that place. He built the Judgment Day, and then they betrayed him, and they've made his life a living hell ever since. They absolutely beat the hell out of Edge over and over and over and over. They made him say "I quit" by hitting his wife with a chair, Beth Phoenix. They absolutely destroyed her in front of Edge. And all of that was orchestrated by Finn Balor, the guy that Edge brought in to join the Judgment Day as one of his cohorts, usurped him as leader. They basically pulled a Julius Caesar on him. And it's all going to end in the most destructive match that wrestling has to offer, Hell in a Cell. This is going to be violent, it's going to be story-driven, there's going to be emotional moments. I think this is going to be a match that has everything any wrestling fan could want. Booking who's going to win. I wouldn't want to be the guy that has that job. Predicting it is hard enough. I don't know what to say. On one hand, Edge is a Hall of Famer, and he doesn't really have much that he needs anymore. And Finn, but then the storyline, wouldn't you have the happy ending at WrestleMania? Of, Edge finally gets that one up on Finn Balor, finally, once and for all? But ultimately, no. I don't think that's the way you go. I don't think happy ending is where you need to be right now. I think that we need to see Finn Balor, especially since he's coming as the Demon. This isn't just regular Edge versus regular Finn Balor. This is the Demon Finn Balor versus the Brood's Edge. The darkest, most violent versions of themselves facing off in the most destructive match wrestling has to offer us. Because of that, and because of the fact that the Demon really needs a revamp after what they pulled at Extreme Rules a couple of years ago, last time we saw the Demon losing by basically busting his ass off the freaking top rope. I'm sorry, that's still freaking hilarious to me. He freaking lost by breaking his butt off the damn top rope and falling and basically face planting. And Roman just rolls him over, pins him. So because of that, they need a revamp on the Demon. They need to really make him a force, and having him beat Hall of Famer Edge, especially this version of Edge, I think that would be. I think that's the right call, personally, is what I'm trying to say. I think that we need to see Finn Balor defeat Edge once and for all, and have him injected into the main event scene from there. Your next match is gonna be a banger. After a banger. After banger. After banger. As Sheamus would say. Sheamus versus Gunther versus Drew. McIntyre for the Intercontinental Championship in a triple threat match. I absolutely love this rivalry because we've seen it built up and developed for basically the whole year. Gunther has been on this tear the whole year. Nobody can stop him. He basically destroys people with one chop. And on the other hand, you have these two Scottish and Irish just warriors, destroyers, just these badasses that will take punishment, take punishment, take punishment, keep getting up, no matter what. And they are two of the best brawlers in the business, Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. You put them in a triple threat match, and this is going to be hard hitting. This is going to be phenomenal. As for who wins, I know a lot of people are saying that Sheamus deserves this moment because the Intercontinental Championship is the only championship he has not won in his career yet. But that said, I have one thing to say. Gunther is very close to being in the conversation of whether he's about to break the Honky Tonk Man's Intercontinental Championship run. And once you get him so close to where he might actually be in the conversation of breaking that record, I think that if you're ever going to have that broken, Gunther, with how he's been presented as this larger-than-life destructive force, if you're not going to have Gunther break that record, it's never going to be broken. And as we saw with the Undertaker's streak, unfortunately, all streaks, all records are made to be broken and ended. So, I think that Gunther retains till, for now, at least until you have him, closer to that when he's already broken that record. As soon as he breaks that record, take it off him. But until then, let him run with it. He's still white hot with this. Raw Women's Championship match is next. Bianca Belair versus Asuka. I've actually really liked the build of this match, for one reason. Bianca Belair is facing a type of wrestler she's never faced before. I like that they've gone back with Asuka to this quiet, not talking much, and honestly creepy badass. Like, she doesn't say anything, she gives these creepy smirks. They basically made her a killer clown now. But not in like a jokey kind of way where he's funny. Asuka's not trying to be funny. She is the type that will strike fear into someone's heart just by smiling at them. And I haven't seen that Asuka since she was in NXT. I didn't get to experience her first run as Kana, where she first did all the face paint. But honestly, seeing this makes me wish I'd seen that. Because it's just been phenomenal. And I like that we've presented Bianca throughout the year as this top champion. Like, she's been running the Raw Women's division. She's been carrying it with pride and doing a great job of it. So I think that Bianca needs to lose to Asuka to put it over. So, next match is Roman versus Cody for the Universal Heavyweight Undisputed Championship. So, here's the thing with that. This is one of the biggest matches in Wrestlemania history because of how long it's been built. But I honestly think that a lot of people, what they're predicting isn't going to happen. Because people are predicting one of two things, and I don't think we're getting either. We're not going to get Roman winning clean. We're not going to get Cody winning clean, or even with help, I don't think. There's one moment since Cody's been back that made me think I know how this is gonna end. And I got a feeling it's gonna disappoint and piss off a lot of people. Roman Reigns is going to get disqualified. Now let me just kind of backpedal a bit. Roman has been on this Tribal Chief storyline where we've seen him smash opponent after opponent after opponent for over 930 something days. And we've seen Cody in that time come back to WWE in the last year. He's worked his way up. He's been injured, came back from injury, worked his way up the card, and won the Royal Rumble. We've seen him be that hard-working, babyface to the Mad King. And the whole time we've seen Roman, every challenger that comes his way, he gets a little more unhinged, a little bit more desperate. So, I feel like the way this match is going to end is based on Cody Rhodes' first promo since being back. He said in that promo, he talked about when he was 8 years old, his dad came home after a championship match that he'd won. But because of the way he'd won, through champion's advantage, he was the challenger in this match. And because of the way that the match had ended via disqualification, like Cody basically told the world that Dusty Rhodes had won the match, but not the championship, by a technicality. And I don't think that was mentioned for nothing. I think that was mentioned to put it in our heads that, oh my god, Roman can lose this match, but not the championship. He's going to get himself DQ'd. He's probably going to low blow Cody Rhodes. That way he loses the championship. No, that way he loses the match, but not the championship. And we run this back at another pay-per-view. Probably SummerSlam. I honestly think SummerSlam is where you take the belt off Roman. So, and then you can have what people are actually predicting, which is Jey Uso and the Usos betray Roman. They realize how manipulative and abusive, basically, to his own bloodline, his family, he's been, storyline-wise, of course, and they take him out for it. They cost him the belt. I think that's something you do at SummerSlam. I don't think that's something you do here, before Roman reaches 1,000 days. If you do it at SummerSlam, sure, awesome. But I got a bad feeling that a lot of people are going to be discouraged when Roman loses that match, but not the championships, because he's getting himself either counted out or disqualified. And it all boils back to what I said in my most recent video. At least yet, I don't think Cody is the guy to be the face of the company. I don't think he's that face franchise person. So until you can build him up a little bit more, probably by SummerSlam you can, that make him a little bit more of a credible challenger, until then I don't think he's the guy to win. But I also don't think that you want to derail him too much by having Roman just beat him clean. So I think, having it be interference from the bloodline, or having a low blow finish or something like that, would be a better way of, that way Roman can get disqualified, and he'll still keep the championship, keep his run, but then Cody can have that implanted in people's minds of, I had you. I had you beat, and you cost me. But overall, that is the last match for WrestleMania. So, overall, I think it's going to be an incredible 2 nights. Regardless of the build, I think it's going to be one of the best WrestleManias in the last 5 to 10 years. And I'm still, as I said, really excited to see where it goes. So for now, I am going to leave it with you. What was your thoughts of the WrestleMania build for night 1 and night 2? What match are you the most excited for? And what do you think is going to happen throughout the show? Leave a comment in the comment box down below. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you get every single notification of every upload here on Pittman's Pit. With that said, my name is Jonathan. This has been Pittman's Pit. Thank you for dropping in. I'll see you next time.